This is my leather working station. I'm going to take you through a brief overview of what I have set up and how I do my work. So this is the main table, and I come from a woodworking background, so this was more or less my workbench before, during woodworking. And I got these plastic organizer trays, little shelving units, drawer units at Walmart, and that holds just about everything I need. So, and what we've got here is a small cutting mat for doing little things. Then there's my marble slab, and underneath of it a big poundo board for punching holes and things like that. If I want to cut anything large, what I've got is a series of cutting mats, some really big ones that I can just lay out on the floor there or over here on our dining table. And as you can see, there's a cutting mat laid up under here right now for some work I need to do later this afternoon. On top of this cabinet, there are just pretty much some this is where I keep extra paper for making plans and doing different designs and sketching. Then here on top of the table, I've got an old piece of railroad track that a friend gave me that I use as an anvil. Since I'm an old man and losing my sight, a little magnifier with a light is really a nice thing. This is just an organizer pouch, and it has mostly just Sharpie markers and pens in it, and then pockets around the sides for various things. Plastic backsplash if I'm dyeing or doing anything that might splash around. When I'm burnishing things using this Dremel tool and this burnisher that you see on it, it does have a tendency to kind of fling tragacanth and burnishing gum around if I do it too fast. Some extra batteries for it. It's a battery operated Dremel up here. Then sitting on top of it is an LED light, battery operated. That's just kind of a place to keep it at the moment. I haven't, when I'm really working on something, I'll move it around and clip it somewhere else so it works out nicely. Then over here is my current pride and joy. This is the Tipman Boss stitching machine, where you move the arm up and down to do the stitches. And I've only had it for about a month, and I've used it quite a bit, and it is a real game changer. I really do like it, and you know, I have a lot of experimenting yet to do with it. I've only pretty much used one thickness of thread, one type of needle so far, but it is a lot of fun to use, and does a great job when you have the patience to get it set up right. Underneath, I keep a couple of things. This happens to be just all my rivets and snaps and hardware and such. I have two hand presses, what they call the Red Baron, I guess, that I pretty much reserve for, I leave for rivets, and if I need to do a lot of hole punching, I have a hole punching set that fits it. And then this one over here, which is the newer model that replaces the Red Baron, and it has a flat plate on it as well, so that I can do like 3D stamp punching, 3D stamps, and various things like that. It will take all the dies that will fit into the Red Baron, but I haven't used it that way yet. The other thing is that it does have a variable height piece, so you can change the depth of the stamp method and such like that. Also, what I've got under here, this is a D&T sharpening stone I use for touching up some tools. This is a deluxe splitter, and I use it for right now. It doesn't do a fantastic job, I found, on actually splitting large pieces. You know, yes, I keep the blade screaming surgical sharp, but when you put veg tan and such in it, it has a tendency to stretch, and it's very hard to pull and very hard to use, but it does an absolutely excellent job at skiving the end of belts and skiving small pieces. That's what I mainly use it for, and I really love it. These are some extra Dremel accessories over here for the Dremel tool. I've been, when I package things, send belts off and wallets and all that, I like to use this kind of container. These little craft take-out food boxes. They work out well. Big bottle of Tragacanth, just because I haven't been able to, don't have anywhere else to put it. So we'll go through some of these drawers and take a look at what I keep in here. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawer unit, and in the bottom is mainly hammers, large tools, some clamps. This drawer contains project supplies, some you know, scrap pieces of leather, and mostly straps of different sizes. Then all my finishing is in here. All the dies and the finishes. This drawer is for stamping and sanding. Lots of sandpapers in there, and stamping items like the 3D stamps. And these are the little things that allow the hand pressed dies to fit the stamps. Then the top small drawer is cutting and marking and measuring. Some plans and such, and some scrap papers and things sitting on top of here. Sheet pad of graph paper and vellum. Then over on this side, top drawer, since this is the one that's about the most accessible, I keep things like you know, my scratch awls, parts and pieces that work for the sewing, for the Boss sewing machine, little things like that, some little clamps. This is mainly punching, you know, holes, punching holes, strap end punches, skiving, little skiver here, staple gun. This third drawer is mainly is just a big drawer where I keep a lot of thread for the machines, but it's mostly edge treating, edge treatment like bevelers and rounding, Tragacanth, edge slicker, manual slickers, stitching, stitching groovers, those type of things. Canvas for burnishing edges by hand. This drawer is going to be mostly project supplies, things, consumables that go into projects such as conchos, belt buckles, rings, straps, and kits. Like, I think this is a yeah, this is a wallet kit or something that I've probably had since I first started leatherworking. This came in the, I think this was part of something that came in the original beginner's kit from Tandy that I started with, and has still sat there not assembled. And then this bottom drawer is wooden parts and pieces, craft aids, molds, those type of things. Around this side, we're going to run into less frequently used items because they're just over here. So top drawer, just some infrequently used tools, punches, screwdrivers, bone folder. This is all going to be sewing, hand sewing, punching, sewing awls, stitching groovers, hand thread, things like that. This is going to be adhesives, all gluing, and items for gluing. Then templates, and I just happen to have some extra belt blanks and cords sitting in here, but these are going to be templates for different sizes, in plans, instructions, and then kind of projects that have been started, you know, parts that were I guess you could almost call scrap, or things that just sort of didn't work out, but I don't have the heart to throw away, and I figured I'll use in something else. Some molded parts of things that I just never finished, but now it's things to go through, maybe for some inspiration, or to start back up, do some different things with. So outside of that, I still have a garage with a few things in it where I take my photos, do some photography, and you know, cut out other things like the wooden parts that I want to make templates out of. But for the most part, that is it. If you have any questions, please feel free to post below. Thank you.